Hi, this is Big Guy DIY Robert coming to you with another video. It's repairing this lamp here. This is an old floor lamp. It's actually my mom's, and I also have one that's I think even older. Let me get a closer look at this lamp for you. So this is a three-way lamp. Take the shade off here. I have a similar lamp that was my grandmother's, and it has the three candles coming off it, but they call it a three-way because the switch with 3 clicks would give you 3 different light levels. This is what they call a Mogul socket. M-O-G-U-L. So here's an idea of a Mogul socket. I've already replaced this socket once. Here's the part number if you're looking for it. And you can see it in the bottom here, Mogul. Mogul sockets are the largest sockets you will find in a residential home. They no longer make lamps with this because everything's gone to LED. They do make a conversion for this, so if you have this and you want to go to, say, a regular size bulb, because the Mogul bulbs are harder to find now and they only come in incandescent, they make a conversion where they'll convert the Mogul down to a regular size socket. So what's the difference between the lamps? Here is a regular lamp and here is a Mogul lamp. So yeah, big difference in the size of the lamp itself. These are normally 100, 200, and 300 watts, which you can see right here on the top. 120 volts. The only place I've been able to find these lamps is on Amazon right now. You will not be able to find these in your regular big box stores because everything's LED. Maybe someday they'll come out with an LED for this with 100, 200, 300. That'd be nice because I kind of like these floor lamps. So what happened with my mom's lamp is the switch stopped working. It won't turn anymore. And then looking inside, I noticed some burnt marks inside there. So I don't know if something got in there beforehand or what, but these are relatively easy to do. There's only 2 screws that hold these in. It's these 2 screws here. And they usually will screw into a base like this that's inside the lamp, down in here. Then the other 2 screws are your electrical wire. There is no positive or negative. There's no such thing that tells you the difference between the 2 wires. It's just a regular brown wire cord. So to remove this, the first thing that needs to be done is the wiring here. A lot of times will just have a small knot in it. So if you take this wire and you need a lot of wire to pull it out, you just increase your loop here and up the center it goes. So I'm going to set up the camera and take this socket out. So in here, using the old one as a reference, it's 2 Phillips screws here and here. That'll loosen the socket so I can pull it out of the lamp post itself. The other thing I need to do is to unscrew this. Give you an idea. When this shows up in the box, this is actually not attached. It's in the box, and this is sitting inside here. So we're just going to unscrew this. we go. Look into the bottom here. Shine a flashlight in there. You can see the original base that it attaches to. So we're just going to disconnect it from here and reattach it to the new one. Now I'm just giving the wire a twist. You know what? I'm gonna make a change on this. I think I can. Let's see here. I'm going to use the old base to experiment here. Okay. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to modify this, the wiring itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder the tips of these wires. It's just, they're soft, and when this screw's tightened down, the wire is just breaking open. So take some flux. I think you can see this. Tinning flux. And then my, this is old. What's my mix here? 60-40. Radio Shack. That gives you an idea how old this wire is. This already has the flux built into the core of the wire, but it's still good to put more flux on it so you know everything takes. Now you can see the soldering. So I'm bending the solder part into like a hook. There. So when you pull this back in, you actually have to pull the wire from the bottom as to alignment to this. One thing I do need is this cardboard. This is the original, not the original, this is the cardboard that comes in the kit somewhere. I put it down. Oh, right here. It works as an insulator. You have to get this up and aligned correctly so when the screws go through, as you can see, not the easiest thing to keep in place, I can tell you that. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to slide it in. So what I did is I slid it in, so now it's dropped on top of the mount. Sorry about that, I won't focus, but you can see it now. So the next thing I have to do is this here has to line up with this, and my screws have to line up down, so I got to look at them. So I'm going to stand on my cord, pull it up so it pulls my lamp down. Of course, nothing's ever perfect. Now that my holes are lined up here, let's see if I can get one of these screws to take. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm going to make a line inside so I know where my screw has to line up with. So as this sits in here, you see my two lines. Thought I had one. Well, not what I wanted to do. So, now for our next trick. I think I'm going to get Mom a new wire. This is the original wire from the 1960s. So I think I'm just going to get a new wire and pull that through, get it set up so it works correctly. So we're going to come back on this. Alright, we're back at this again. So like I said, I ripped out the old cord. Now, you can buy new electrical cord at the hardware store, any hardware store. They usually come in spools. And then you can buy the ends, like this, to attach to it. I'll show you what it looks like here. This one's really, really old, but that's the end. Your two wires just attached to that. And that's it. It's pretty simple forward. I don't always do that because I'm not a fan of these ends, quite honestly. I'll put one of these on if I don't have a choice, or let's say I'm working on a lamp and the wiring is fine, the length is fine, but the end had disintegrated, fallen apart, then I'll replace it. But otherwise, if I'm going to put a whole new wiring inside something, I just buy an extension cord. All right. And then, oh, I thought I had wire cutters here. Get my wire cutters. And there we go. Just cut it off, because now my end is actually solid. So that's the easy way of replacing the wiring here. So take off all our labeling. So the cord I bought here is 15 feet. The original cord was 11 feet. Gauge of this is the same gauge as it is for the old electrical wire, which is, I think, around 16, probably. So now I have this. I have to snake it back up through the lamp itself. Now, the original cord had like a loop tied in here. Oop, I goofed. It's got to go through the side. The original one had a loop right here. I'm not going to bother because the new wiring is actually thicker. The outside is thicker than the other one. And once the lamp is in place, it's not going to be moved around. So I'm not worried about the socket or the wiring being pulled from the socket. There we go. Next, I'm just going to split it. The length of the wiring here, I'm making it about 1 inch long. Inch long? Yeah, 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to solder it again, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for the soldering. So take the wire, dip it into flux, cover it really good. The more flux, in a way, it's better. It'll help the solder to adhere to the copper wiring. And my copper wiring, or my solder, already has flux in it, like I said earlier. But I don't rely on that. You really have to cover this whole thing with flux. So the reason for soldering the whole wire is so I have a more of a solid wire. I can create a hook so this will stay on here. So I'm going to show you options here. In regards to doing this. This is what the base looks like. That's inside the lamp. The base of the Mogul socket attaches like so. So it leaves these screws open. So these are the options. You can do a split end connector. As I say, split end, you can see it's not a enclosed ring. Okay? Or you can solder the whole thing, bend the end, and create a hook. The reason I'm not showing a ring connector, which is an enclosed one, is these screws don't come out, fully come out. They only come out partially. So, zoom in on here when I say about, oh, you can see the hook pretty well. All right, that is a much more solid install compared to the old one I did using the old wiring. So now we have to come back, pull this back into here. And again, let me turn this. You have to remember to line up your knob with this hole. So now comes the tricky part. Getting the screws to go into the base correctly. And this is where you need patience. You gotta go completely by feel. Got it. Now, if you really wanted to have that loop here on the bottom, so if someone's pulling the cord, it doesn't go out too far. Just do this. Actually, I got a better idea. Zip tie. Pull it in a little. I'm using a razor blade to cut the zip tie. That way I got a smooth end that won't cut your finger or anybody else. So now it won't pull out. So, bulbs. The bulb that my mother had in the lamp only had one of the 3 settings working, which was the 200 watt. For several years I've been waiting for them to come up with a second setting, or not a second setting, a different set of bulbs. And I found this on Amazon, and I will put the link down below. 100 watt, 200 watt, 300 watt. It is a 3-way light, as you can see, but this is the real wattage that it's using. So 10 watts, 20 watts, 30 watts. Long 13 years. And I bought 2 because since I have a lamp as well. There are different colors you can buy this lamp in. I did the soft white because then that looks just like the original bulb that was in here. Cool white's a little whiter per se, and daylight, we all know what the daylight is. It has like the blue, like what I'm using here for shop lights. That stuff has a little blue tint to it. So I'll show you what this new bulb looks like. I think it was $23 for a pair. And there you go, a Mogul light. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like with the lampshade and everything on. So I think you can see that. So it's not super bright, which is exactly what the original bulb is. There we go. So that's it. This is Big Guy DIY signing off with a simple repair, somewhat. It takes a little time, especially when it comes to getting these screws in to the socket itself to work. But yeah, Mogul receptacle. So pretty neat. Any questions, rifle them down below in the comments section. I'll do my best to reply to them. Yeah, these are kind of rare lamps, so I don't expect to see too many views on this video, but it's out there. It is a doable repair and a simple repair. So I'll post the link for the new Mogul socket, and I'll post the link for the new Mogul light bulb that's now LED. And that's a big difference in wattage from doing 100 watts to 10 watts. 200 watts only uses 20 watts, and 300 watts uses 30 watts. I mean, outdoor halogen lamps, like the big work lights, those are 300 to 500 watts. Use a ton of power and a lot of energy, or a lot of heat from those things. I look forward when they come out with the thin halogen bulbs that you use in those work lights to becoming LEDs instead. It probably won't, because the current ones that are out there, they're a different design. That's the LED one. This is a 500 watt. But it'd be nice if they do like the slender bulb, the old halogen ones that are 300, because I still got those lamps and I hate to throw them away. Just have an LED bulb in it. So this is Big Guy DIY, Robert signing off. Like I said, any comments, rifle them below. Any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Have a good one.